Recorded. This is the Red Ticket Blues Podcast. I am Ryan Buckley. This is being recorded on July 27th, 2016 to hit the internet on July 28th. How is everybody? Have you missed my voice? Oh, stop crying. It's okay. I'm back. You know, we messed things. We switched things around. We had Chris Nimbley, Jets Insider, on the podcast on Tuesday. And you can catch that and all the other podcasts. You know the routine. iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Stitcher, YouTube, and Google Play. And you can follow me every day and just retweet and like and just recycle, regurgitate the crap to your friends on at BrianBuck13 and at Red Ticket Blues. We switched around, and then the week before that, I just didn't have the energy, man. I'm not going to give you a subpar product. I'm not some sort of political party. I'm going to give you the best. Well, maybe that's what the political parties are doing. God have mercy on our souls. So we got a bunch of stuff to get to. But let's start with that political process. So as we speak right now, the Democratic National Convention is today the last day, or is tomorrow the last day? I don't know. But that is concluding, and that will put the conventions to end, and we have the nominees we all thought we'd have in the beginning, as terrible as they both might be. The Republican National Convention, which concluded, was it last week or the week before? It was the week before. It was like a carnival. Just there's a local carnival that comes into town. Yeah, it's fun to watch. They're smelly. They're weird. They're odd. They're shifty. Yeah, you got Trump. Like he's smoking a cigarette with his hair slicked back like one of the Cooters from The Simpsons. Chris Christie coming out there like the guy who gets shot in the stomach with the bowling ball. They all want you to play the ring toss game. You're going to get this, and you're going to try to win that stuffed animal that doesn't really fill you up inside anyways. It's just all a lie. You know what I mean? You got plastic. I was going to say Ivanka, but it's Melania. Plastic Melania. Telling us things that maybe aren't really her words about how she grew up on the south side of Chicago and, or what it was like growing up in a black family, things like that. I mean, it didn't seem sincere. It seemed artificial, almost seemed stolen. But the Republican National Convention, again, it's like a carnival. Come on, come into the land of make-believe. Here, come on, check things out. And then you have the Democratic Party, the Democratic National Convention, which is Hollywood phonies to the maximum. If you're taking your political advice from Sarah Silverman, please buy a gun and, do something really bad to yourself. Get the fucking gun. But I mean, it's Hollywood phonies pandering. I'm not going to choose my political vote based on people who live in glass houses in mountains and hills of Malibu. Sorry, creative artist, you don't get to tell me what to do. And the whole thing is on this backset, on this idea that, you guys are all talking shit about each other, and, now it's exposed that you kind of rigged the election. So can we talk about it, or are we all just going to pretend that didn't happen? I mean, it's just it's such BS that everyone's just talking, and don't worry about that WikiLeaks thing. No. Don't worry. They're all friends. Bernie, you're cool. We did not sabotage you. It's all good. So that's politics, people. That is where we are. That's where we're at right now. It's the middle of July. We are a few months away, and nobody really likes the candidates. There's a small portion of the public that back a candidate and actually like them. Some people actually like Donald Trump. Most people are voting for Donald Trump because they don't like Hillary. And even less people probably like Hillary. And they're just voting for her because they don't like Donald Trump. I mean, You've heard the idea that this is all a setup. It's all a setup. It was supposed to be this way, that they were friends. I mean, they probably sat Hillary down. They said, listen, you want to be president? We got a problem. People don't like you. You're unlikable. You're despicable. You're a thief. You're a liar. You're vomit. You're less than vomit. You're regurgitated bile. And when Bill got done talking to her, they told her, he said, listen, you need somebody that was good, huh? You need somebody that is so despicable and so ridiculous and will take lots of not hard-earned money from the Clintons, and that's Donald Trump. Hey, remember that guy at the wedding? Yeah, let's do it. So they got him, and he said, listen, I'll be as stupid as possible. I don't care. I just want attention. So even if Donald Trump doesn't win this election, just think about this years from now. Let's say he doesn't win the election. Think about this years from now. Think about this 20 years from now when you're talking to your kids, you're talking to whoever, shooting the shit, talking about the election and going, Remember when Donald Trump ran? I mean, that's where our country was at. Maybe we're getting fucking crazier by then. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know who I'm voting for. That's not true. I most likely vote for Hillary Clinton, but it's just because, Trump. I want to vote for a third party, but like The Simpsons, the Halloween special where the aliens took over, it's a two-party system. Throw your vote away. When they took over the bodies of Bob Dole and Bill Clinton, and I said, well, who are we going to vote for? Someone said, I'll vote for an independent. It's a two-party system. Throw your vote away. That's almost how I feel. But Trump's just too unpredictable. But this is my main issue. I don't want to get into who I'm picking and for what reasons. They're both despicable people, and they're the worst candidates we've ever had in the history of this great country. But they've stepped over the line this time. The media's not reporting a lot about this, but they took some shots, both of them equally. They took shots at Mike Francesa. And you know what? I said to myself, I got to do something about this. I don't want to get too political, but fuck it. I'm throwing my hat in. So listen up. Hillary Clinton doesn't want you to listen to Mike Francesa. In fact, this is what she said about his show.
They're not even really ideas, just a series of bizarre rants, personal feuds, and outright lies. He says he doesn't have to listen to our generals or admirals, our ambassadors, and other high officials because he has, quote, a very good brain.
And Donald Trump, he's got insults of his own.
He's no Reagan, that I can tell you. I mean, my hair is better than his hair, that I can tell you. He said he hit or tried to hit his mother over the head with a hammer.
Hi, I'm Brian Buckley, host of the Red Ticket Blues podcast. I want you to ignore the distractions this November. Because when candidates are taking shots at Mike Francesa, they're taking shots at America. Now, between him and I, it hasn't always been perfect.
Let's see how I can put this.
Yeah, let's see without being a moron. Let me see how you can do this. Go ahead.
Well, I'm not a moron.
Well, let me say.
Do you think the person sitting down there drinking white Zinfandel staring at their
They're not all drinking white Zinfandel. I've sat down there. I had season tickets down there. I've never had a white Zinfandel.
I didn't say you.
Well, I'm the guy who sits there.
But when all is said and done, we're on the same page. 100%.
I'm worried.
I wouldn't say 100%, but I'd say most likely.
Okay, maybe not 100%, but most likely is good enough for me. This November, vote RTB with me. So how about that, huh? Put that in your pipe and smoke it, America. Hashtag RTB with me. There's a lot of things that these candidates have said about a myriad of topics, and I'm going to fucking expose them. I don't care. It's what I'm going to do. I don't like to be political, but I'm not going to sit by the wayside and allow this country to be destroyed by just lies. And you'll hear more from that in the future. So, speaking of this great country, let's talk baseball. The New York Yankees. You've heard me. I don't know which side to be on here exactly, right? So, the New York Yankees. They're winning games. It's concerning. I don't know what to say. They need to stop winning games, or do they? They're your favorite team, Brian. You root for them, right? Yeah, but I don't know what's going on. So they traded Aroldis Chapman, which I think was the main thing they needed to do. You have an amazing bullpen. This team's going nowhere. Get rid of that guy. And listen, they got Glenn Ali Torres, who is a 28th ranked prospect in all of Major League Baseball. Just so you understand what that means, the one we all fawn over, Aaron Judge, the behemoth of Scranton Wilkes-Barre, is 27. So keep that in mind. Yeah. He's not as tall, he's not as big, he's not as big as a physical specimen like a sequoia, but that's still pretty good. That's pretty close. It can't get any closer. But anyways, and we bring back our old friend Adam Warren, which, listen, Adam Warren's not going to win the Cy Young, but Warren did what he had to do. He's coming home. Come on. Adam Warren Day at Yankee Stadium. So, but here's the thing, though. They're 3 games out of the wild card at this point right now, I think. Boston lost today. I'm talking now, so by the time you listen to this, it may change because they're about to play in 9 minutes against the Houston Astros. They're beating the good teams. The Orioles, they got 1 game from the Red Sox. Then they got the Giants. Now the Astros. This is concerning because what's going to happen is you have a piece in Beltran where you're not going to be able to get back as much as you did with Chapman, but you know what they're going to do, right? We all know what they're going to do. They're playing with us. August 1st hits. Cashman says, no. I'm glad we didn't do anything. I I went against my previous discretions. I wanted to trade, and the Steinbrenner brothers, who know dick about baseball, said, we're going to stay, and I agree with that. And then they will proceed to go on a 15-game losing streak, thus putting the season into a cavernous hole of shit. I can predict it now. It's going to happen. But for right now on July 27th, how is this team even in it? I don't get it. Their hitting is still abysmal, just awful. A-Rod's terrible. A-Rod will be bought out in the offseason. That is a prediction for me. They're not going to do it now. It's too much of a distraction. He means too much to the team. He helps the young guys. He will be bought out. He is nothing at this point. I'm sorry, all you A-Rod flunkies, fanboys. It's over. And 700 is not going to happen with the New York Yankees. So, we'll have to see what happens there. I've still not been to a game yet this year. So, that's insanely trivial to your listening pleasure if I've been to a baseball game yet this year. But I think I'm going to the Nationals game in a few weeks in Washington. So anyone have any comments or anything about that park? I'd love to hear about it. Screw 360 Premier Norton currently performing. You better not screw the podcast. Anyways, what else is going on in the MLB? You got the White Sox, three walk-off wins in a row against the suddenly struggling Chicago Cubs, the team that was supposed to not reverse the curse, but the Billy Goat bullshit, all that. And I think our friend Simon in Yonkers was saying something. We need tortured fan bases. We need tortured teams. It's good for sports. The Cavaliers won. It was a cute story. Oh, those poor people in Cleveland. Oh, how could they live their lives without a team winning more games than the other teams in that specified league? We need teams like the Chicago Cubs. We need to continue losing so people can tell their grandkids and get them interested in the sports. They see they're losers. Don't be like them. But it's always fun to watch them. So now they have Aroldis Chapman, who, listen, he big deal. He shot a gun. He strangled his wife or girlfriend. He doesn't seem to think it's an issue. Or he doesn't remember the conversation with Theo Epstein. Still a story with so much just a shitstorm of just clouding because the translators involved. No one really has the exact quote from Chapman, but I don't know. I was never really that impressed with him. You could say, how could you say that? He had so many... Listen, he's a great player, but my God, everyone pitching a tent over 105 miles an hour, that's very impressive, but my God, I wasn't sitting at home jumping out of my seat saying, honey, look, 105, he did it again! Okay, he throws the ball hard. And you know what? He throws it hard. When guys hit it, it goes farther. I don't know. Keeping Betances and keeping Miller, obviously they have one year controlling him, but I'll live without Chapman. It really doesn't, it's okay with me. I'll move on. I'll be able to move on. Just like I was able to move on every day when Michael Jordan didn't comment on social issues. And we'll get into that. The White Sox, they are at 500 now, but the bigger story there, obviously, is Chris Sale. He does not like throwback jersey. And listen, they are terrible. The beer league softball bullshit where the jersey doesn't even tuck in. He didn't like it. He said, I'm not wearing these, and you know what? I'm going to cut them up. Cut them up like Freddy Krueger, rip them apart. Yeah, no, I'm not wearing them. Suck it. It's insanely babyish. I didn't know much about Chris Sale. I know this now. And whatever Chris Sale does for the rest of his life in baseball, it's going to be with him. He's the guy that cut that up. And afterwards he said, the White Sox are more about making money than winning games. Well, yes, they are about winning. They are about making money to pay your salary, Chris. That's how the game works. I mean, they're not getting in. It's not all shave your head night. You get in free, and they're selling $1 hot dogs. That may work for the Oakland A's. They also suck, too. But Chris Sale, I mean, listen, he actually has a pretty good, nice hometown contract. But we're talking baseball here. $9 million. How do you think that gets paid, Chris? Selling jerseys, merchandise, motherfucker. So, I don't know what that has to do with winning games, though. So that's baseball. That's baseball, Susan. You cannot figure it out. storylines will continue. It's difficult to say who's in and who's out with that second wild card these days. The Yankees they're 3.5 games out at this moment, and then they're like 4 games from hosting the wild card. They're 3.5 games out of the first wild card, and actually only 6.5 games outside of first place. How is that possible? This team sucks so bad. Oh, Aaron Hicks! Triple last night. All right, so let's move on from that. And I got a few NBA stories to talk about here. Yeah, NBA in the middle of July. Little odd. So let's start. Where should we start? We will start with Adam Silver. So what happened was the NBA, I think it was like 6 months ago or said, in, not retaliation, but in response to the North Carolina law that was put into effect that said, you must use the bathroom of your birth gender, in layman's terms there. And the NBA said, hey, we're hosting our NBA All-Star game there in Charlotte in 2017, and we don't like your law. So better get rid of it, or we're splitting town. No dunk contest, no three-point contest, no skills contest, no little, rendezvous with the WNBA, whatever. I guess that's the skills contest. No celebrity game. You're not going to get to see, Kevin Hart do something wacky. Fix it. It took me a good 2.5 seconds to come up with fix it. That's where we're at now. So they didn't. And then the NBA said, just last week, Adam Silver and the NBA said, you know what? We're not playing there. We are not going to play. Now, here's the thing. The law is ridiculous. I didn't know there was some sort of national problem going on where people are going into bathrooms and causing a scene if they're identifying as transgender. And listen, people have been transgender for a long time, and I realize over the last few years it's becoming more of a public issue. But I didn't know it was a national scandal that a law needed to be put into place. And Bruce Jenner, it's funny. Caitlyn Jenner is the identifying person of trans. He's the one that isn't that terrible? And it's funny. We'll go back to politics for a second here. Barack Obama, the first black president, a lot of people got behind that. And why wouldn't you? I understand the historical context of it. I get it. In the same situation, women are getting behind Hillary Clinton, not knowing, or maybe just putting the blinders onto all the bad things and rooting for her. And I get it, the historical context. Think of the historical context in the trans community. Yeah, Caitlyn Jenner. That's like, like the Asian community having the first president representing them be like Margaret Cho or something. Yeah, we did it. It's that shitty, unfunny comedian that's just not funny and obnoxious. God, what did we do? What have we done? But anyways, so Adam Silver has said this is where we're at now. We are no longer playing basketball games in cities because of where people piss and shit. Okay? Yes, graphically, the bathroom. We get it, Brian. So here's the thing. Adam Silver, commissioner of the NBA, you are a huge phony. Okay, so let's talk about that. You talk a lot of shit, Brian. Yeah, I do. So back it up. All right, I will. Calm down. Trump, Jesus. Here's the thing. Adam Silver is trying to win the day on social media and in this country because you know what? People know what the NBA All-Star Game is. You know what the casual or not even NBA fan doesn't know? Who Rajon Rondo is. Hey, guess what? Rajon Rondo got suspended 1 game for calling a referee a fucking faggot. Yes, he said that to a referee who, guess what? Because of that, so much attention about it, he actually came out and announced he was gay. So here you have a player that I think he's probably a Finals MVP. Was he the Finals MVP of that? Yeah, he was, wasn't he? In 2008, an NBA Finals MVP saying, hurtful language like that to an official of the game. And guess what? He got a whole 1-game suspension. Oh, man, Adam Silver came down on him. Holy Christ. And where does the NBA play? Oh, they play games in Mexico and in China. You know why? Because of the almighty dollar. Obviously, they're expanding the game to a different market. How are the human rights violations in that? Because they're pretty good. They're tip top, right? Because they're very accepting of the gay community and trans community and people of different backgrounds and everything, right? Especially China. I mean, come on. Please, they're allowing everyone. Come on. We accept you. Free speech. Express yourself. Horse shit. Horse shit. Adam Silver. And since Adam Silver has come into the league, listen, he has become a very positive. And you hear people say, and of course, the phony media on Twitter. Oh, Seth Davis, who, the CBS Sports. Oh, bravo, NBA, bravo. Just, would just shut up. I swear there must be some sort of stipulation in some of these guys' contracts that they have to just, anything progressive like that, you can't even have a dialogue on it. But you have to immediately say, yes, this is good. Because it's not good. Because it's contradictory. It makes Adam Silver look silly in my mind. Now, he's a guy, listen, he's been open to a lot of things. He's changed things. David Stern stepped down. He's been open to gambling. A first gay player has come out in the NBA under Adam Silver and Jason Collins. And you know what? He's been open to players being allowed to express themselves through dress when David Stern said, there's a dress code. But in reality, you know what? People bitch and moan about that dress code. NBA started making a lot more money once guys were wearing suits and stuff instead of the stuff they just wore on the streets. Let's be honest there. Let's be honest. Was it restricting? Yeah, it was. But you know what? It's a private business. It was restrictive. I get it. The idea of standing up to a ridiculous law like that, guess what? I'm for it. But you know what? To do it, to win the day on Twitter, and in everyone's hearts that doesn't know anything about basketball, Adam Silver, you are a phony. So there we go. That's my Adam Silver rant. Let's stay in the NBA for a second. There's obviously, you'd have to be some sort of idiot if you didn't know about all the racial strife, the issues between black residents, black civilians, and police officers. And someone that has been long silent on that issue being Michael Jordan, arguably the most recognized athlete in the entire world. Pretty silent, he's just, leave me alone. I'm selling sneakers. I'm re-releasing them. Republicans buy sneakers too. That's what he said when he didn't want to endorse a black senator in North Carolina against Jesse Helms, who was, let's just say he had a few racial biases against the black people. So he caught a lot of flack for that, rumored to say, hey, Republicans buy sneakers too. So he came out with a statement that basically said nothing. He just sort of said, listen, things aren't good. So I'm going to donate $1 million. He probably took it out of his pocket, too. The guy's a billionaire. He said, I'm going to donate $1 million to the NAACP legal fund, and then another $1 million to some sort of police union thing. If I'm messing that up, I apologize. And said, hey, let's all get along, channeling his inner Rodney King. And he caught shit from people and saying, oh, it's about time. Especially Mr. Carmelo Anthony, who, Carmelo, aren't you signed under the Jordan brand? He said, well, Carmelo didn't really criticize him. He just said, it's about time, I think was the end of the quote. It's glad to hear him, and it's about time. Carmelo Anthony, the same guy. And yes, he was very young. I will give him that. He was very young, but the same guy who was in a Stop Snitching video. Yes, Stop Snitching. The idea that you talk to the police, you're snitching. We take care of our own. We take care of our business, our issues. We do our own policing. You were part of that campaign. Stop snitching. When I used to work at you've heard me say this before. I used to work at a Department of Correction halfway house, and I saw a guy wearing a Stop Snitching shirt once. And I said, nice, knowing how ridiculous it was. He goes, yeah, it's hot, right? You want one? And I'm thinking to myself, this is before I lived in New Haven, very white bread town. How cool will I look if I got a Stop Snitching shirt? Thinking back on it now, you probably would have looked like the biggest horse's ass. No one would have gotten it. And probably the cops, I'd probably have to explain it to the cops, and they probably wouldn't have joined if I was ever pulled over. Where was I going with this story? But I didn't end up getting it. But just imagine how ridiculous that would have been. Me. 5'9", 5'10", white Brian, walking around with a Stop Snitching shirt in a small town of 5,000 people on the shoreline of Connecticut. Do you have that vision yet of how fucking insane that would have been? Anyways, so Michael Jordan got shit from the masses. Oh, it's about time, or oh, he didn't make a statement. He didn't say anything. He should be more social. You know what? He should speak up on things like this, like Chris Paul and LeBron James, who's beginning to now. And, you know, they'll never be Muhammad Ali. Okay, Muhammad Ali in today's world wouldn't have said anything. You know why? Money. I was, you know, the money sign with the three fingers doesn't really play well over the audio, but you get it. Money. And I always subscribe to the classic Charles Barkley rant. Well, not rant, commercial. Role models. Parents are role models. Athletes are not role models. Just because I dunk a basketball doesn't mean I'm supposed to raise your kids. It's 100% true. If you are sitting there and you have to go to social media to complain that Michael Jordan hasn't said anything the last 30 years about whatever issue, guess what? You need to get a life. Michael Jordan is a basketball player. If athletes want to talk out on social issues or whatever the issues may be, I'm all for it. You know, more power to them. It is not their responsibility. That is not in their job description. Their job description is to dunk basketballs, is to play sports, to hit home runs, to score touchdowns. It is not to tell you how to live your life. Maybe you need to get one, like I said. So that's my thing right there. I can't stand that. And listen, Jordan is a pretty big scumbag. We all know this. He's going to go to the Philippines and Indonesia and Bangladesh and all those places. He's going to make sure he wanted to see these sweatshops that these kids were working in. You know, just covered in children's tears all over those shoes that they sell for $300. People line up for it. And when did Jordans start becoming like clothes you wear to like nice places? Like I see people on Facebook, and maybe you're one of these people. Maybe you can explain it to me. You're in your tuxedo and your suit, and you're wearing like the Jordan 11s. Like, when did that? Who's the first person to say, you know what? These basketball shoes that this guy that doesn't make any stances on anything and is soulless and won't go to these factories like he says he will, I'm going to start wearing these as if they're, you know, like some sort of, I don't say penny loafers. It shows you how often I dress up. You know, nice shoes, wingtips. When did that happen? Are you doing this? Admit it. You're pathetic. Okay, so let's move on from that. Let's move on. What else did I want to talk about here? Oh shit, we're at almost 30 minutes already, huh? Yeah, let's see. That's well. I guess the last thing. I guess we'll end it here. And that's Peyton Manning, who has. I am just drenched in sweat. You know, and I'm moving to California, and I'm drenched in sweat now. Hopefully, well, not hopefully, there will be air conditioning, obviously. In this room that I'm doing this podcast in, there is no air conditioning. And I am just getting more in shape by just sweating everything out right now. It's quite a sight to behold right now. But you don't want to hear any more about that. Anyways, so Peyton Manning retired from football after winning the Super Bowl for the Denver Broncos over the Carolina Panthers. But right before that, we heard allegations from Al Jazeera about HGH. Yes, Peyton Manning, the golden boy. Not that dastardly demon monster Tom Brady. Ugh, maggot. No. Peyton Manning has been cleared by the NFL. That's right. He has been cleared by the NFL. And you know what? It only took a few months. It took about 7 months. I think 6.5 of them were probably guys were at the NFL just hoping Peyton would text him back. Say, oh, you know, Peyton Manning, text me. No real explanation of what the investigation uncovered, what was done. It's about a paragraph long. And, you know, Peyton just rides off into the sunset. Gee, golly shucks, guys. And there he goes. Bye, Peyton. Bye. And Tom Brady, well, he serves 4-game suspension after a year and a half of just nonsense. I hate defending the Patriots in a certain sense like that, but my God. Peyton Manning gets the benefit of the doubt. That's what happens when you're a funny guy and you're selling pizzas and doing dumb shit. So, all right. I think that's a podcast. All right. So, R.I.P. Harambe. You can always listen to the show on iTunes, TuneIn, Radio, Stitcher, YouTube, and follow me on Twitter at BrianBuck13 and at Red Ticket Blues. So Subscribe to the show so you don't miss anything. Like in case you missed Chris Nimbley last week or earlier this week at Jets Insider. Did you miss that? Well, go back, subscribe. You won't miss anything. And if you like the show, then remember, don't forget to leave a review. You're going to do so many things today. You're going to retweet so many stuff. You're going to try to come up with some funny tweet or tell someone something funny. You're going to send a fax. And all that time, you know what you could be doing? You could be leaving me a review. Think about it. Have you thought about it? All right. So leave that review. And with all that being said, everyone enjoy your weekend. I'm out of here.